Hello, this is Malorian and this is the Orc Tactical Team, and what we're going to be talking about today is just continuing on the series about how Orcs and Goblins take on tournament armies. And the army we're going to talk about this time is High Elves. And High Elves again bring something to the table that we never like seeing, and that's something that severely outclasses us in combat. You would really expect it because on a model per model basis the High Elves are more expensive, but you just got to keep in mind that, man, these guys are going to give you a pounding in combat. And there's two different ways that they're going to do this. One is through Spearmen. A Spearman horde for High Elves can attack in 5 ranks. Because they're always strikes first, they get to re-roll a hit, and so you're having 51 attacks with the champ, re-roll the hit, that's a whole bunch of rolls to wound, and so that thing is just kind of like the Gatling gun, and it's just going to be killing tons of things like that. So especially if something like that gets matched up with one of your Goblin hordes, it's going to disappear in no time. The other type of one is more of the hard-hitting one, and that's something more like a horde of the White Lions. These guys, they're strength 6, so they're going to be killing orcs on 2s, and even though they normally hit last, because of the way that the rules currently work, they still get to re-roll the hit with these things. So again, if you run to a horde of these guys, that's 41 attacks, re-rolling to hit, 2+ to wound. If a horde of White Lions get matched up with your horde of Black Orcs, kiss them goodbye. They are just toast. By the time you get to attack back, you're going to have almost nothing left. And then you'll just be ran down. And so the question really becomes, well, how the hell do you deal with this? Every single time you match up a combat, you're going to get crushed. Well, one of the things you have to really remember that's the advantage to this is that High Elves are really elite. They're going to have a really small army. And either they're just going to have a couple of big hordes, or they might go with a few more units, but then it's a little bit smaller and easier to deal with. But either way, you're going to outnumber them and out-unit them so you can outmaneuver them. So because we're talking tournaments, we can already assume that they're probably going to be going and trying to go down one flank to try and make sure they only take on a part of your army at once. And that's almost good news, because what you want to do against them is also take on one unit at a time. Like I was saying before, if you take on the whole army at once, you're just going to get smacked and he's going to run you down. However, if you take them unit by unit, hitting it with everything you have, then you stand a chance. Well, you can stand a pretty good chance, actually, depending on how well you do these matchups. So let's imagine this then. On your flank, you're pretty much board to board ends. The High Elves, they're just on the half. And what that means then is that you are going to delay with this side and smash with this side. Everything, with the wall, you can get up there really quickly. And so really, with his formation, whatever unit is right here is target number 1. And the way that you're going to really concentrate on that is when it comes to characters, you get to throw all your characters right there and make sure that you're hitting them with everything you have, so that even though they might be killing a lot of these other guys, your characters are just killing like there's no tomorrow. And a big thing here too is that because you're going to have more units, you're going to actually get to out-deploy him. And you can even start with a couple of small things that don't matter, and in the end you're going to be able to know what side he's going to be on. He's probably going to start with like an eagle on this side and an eagle on this side to try and throw you off, but you can still outlast him, and eventually you're going to know, okay, big one's over here, and then you can start setting up your center to be taking on that unit, whatever that turns out to be. Now the real question really then becomes, what unit do you want to try and match up against these things? Well, if it's against the Spearmen, no matter what they're against, they're going to be hitting lots. The main thing you can try and hurt them with is the 2 wounds. You're trying to find something with a higher toughness. So you're really, what I'm saying here is wanting to go with something that is an orc rather than a goblin. And the other thing here too is that you want to make sure that you're also placing chariots. And all these little things are going to be adding a little more punch to your hit to be supporting there as well. Because when you do that first charge, you're going to be hitting them with everything you have. And so that unit as well has to be your best unit. I don't care if it's your Black Orc horde, I don't care if it's your big unit of big uns. It has to be the unit that packs the biggest punch. Because the one thing about High Elves is that even though they're going to be killing lots of you, they can't take a punch back. These things are only toughness 3, usually have almost pretty much no armor. So if you're strength 5, you're ignoring it. And so all these attack backs are going to start wiping these things out. So if you're against a type of list that has smaller blocks of High Elves, what that means is that as long as you get past that first round, well then after that, then they're going to have less attack backs, you're going to grind them down. Okay, 1 unit down, move on to the next. And one of the things you might need to do to make sure that this survives, to get past that second round, is having, there's the Helm of Command that makes you stubborn. And so if you can imagine it, you're going to be hitting with your main block full of characters, all decked out for being really killy, and as well a bunch of chariots. Hit, smash, you lose, but you killed a bunch of guys. Chariots break, but you hold. Over here, you're doing your delaying action. Chariots rally. By now, you've beaten this unit, and everything's ready to go on to the next one. So you got to kind of think that, a couple of turns ahead in the way that things are actually going to flow in the game. If it's something more like the White Wolves, or what do you call them up? Whatever, the guys with the great weapons. Now I'm having a little bit of brain fart. Anyway, if it's them, all of a sudden your Black Orcs might not be the best thing just because they're going to die so fast. But if that's all you have, if it's between the Black Orcs and a unit of Goblins, well, go with the Black Orcs because you're not going to win just throwing them easy units. So you're going to take them with the best you have. If you are actually planning to be taking on this, a unit that's actually really good against those White Lions is the Horde of Trolls. And that's because their regeneration really saves them from all those big hard-hitting hits. I mean, of course, if they're a Horde, you're with the 41 attacks, you're still going to be taking a lot of punishment. But the main thing is that you should survive a lot better than something that doesn't have that. And then coming back, you're going to have a lot of attacks. You have all these strength 5 attacks that are wounding on 2s and killing. You got your stomp after to kill more. So these guys are going to be really good at surviving and then killing. And one of the things that can really help, but you have to watch for, is that it would be great if you can reduce these guys' strength. So the idea would be that you hit with your main hammer unit, whatever it is. You also have your chariots, and then you also have a Night Goblin unit with nets to bring down their strength. The thing to watch out here for, though, is that unless you have the perfect situation, you could end up blocking chariots, which would be adding necessary kills. And as well, when it comes back, they're going to be killing lots of these Night Goblins. So again, in the way that the army flows, you could be thinking, okay, both are charging together. They're netting you, I'm killing a bunch while you're not killing many of me. This unit has the Helm of Command, so they're stubborn. Night Goblins break. Next turn, now you've lost enough that you're not going to hurt me enough, and I can finish you off. And you kind of like cycle through Night Goblin units with nets to do that. Of course, if you're doing that, you're wanting to keep them smaller because they're not there for steadfast, they're just there to throw nets, rally, and then hooray, I did my job. Maybe running after a bolt thrower or something after. So really work that. I mean, it really has to be everything focusing on one type of unit at a time. Now let's deal with the next big, huge problem with High Elves. Their magic. Their magic is going to be really good. They have the banner of sorcery that gets them more. And the worst thing is Teclis and the other items that let you pick your lore, pick your spells. Yikes. So pretty much if you run through the book, any little trick that player wants to try and do to you, they know or can guarantee that they're going to get that spell. So a critical thing here is to try and make sure you have lots of magic defense. You have your spirit totem, you have your spell scroll. But after that, one of the biggest things it's going to be is actually just getting into combat with these things. Now let's say if it's Teclis, you can't even stop that stuff. It's going to be irresistible and you're just going to be standing there with your dice in your hands doing nothing. And the way that you're going to stop that is trying to kill them in combat. So I was talking about before about how you were wanting to delay one side while hitting hard the other side. If you're facing some sort of really nasty magic combination, all of a sudden you're going to have to go on an assassination attempt. And these can be very difficult against High Elves, because if you can imagine, normally you could just take something like, a couple of trolls, maybe some character, or a couple of boar boys. It's something that goes fast, hits hard, kills a guy, and goes away. The problem with the High Elves is that thanks to their always strikes first and hitting so hard, you can hit them with this assassination unit, and they'll kill it before they even gets to attack. So it has to be a fairly solid assassination attempt to even work in the first place. So what you might want to have set up for one of your delaying units, because over here, I mean, obviously if it's in the unit you're targeting, you're going to have your biggest stuff hitting it anyway, and you can kill them that way. But if it's something else you're not targeting first, a good delaying unit, of course, is a massive unit of night goblins with nets, and then with them, you could add characters to try and be killing, but I wouldn't even bother. And the main thing why I would say no is, first of all, there's the whole thing where they can take them away with challenges, and then after that, they're just going to be killing them and getting a lot of points, and so you're going to be kind of falling behind. And the nice thing is that because elves are so squishy, your regular night goblins can be killing them by themselves. You know, so just charge them up, tie up the unit with the big mage, and just start stabbing him in the groin. And then once he's dead, well, that probably made you up the points for the unit. So no matter what happens then, they've been a delaying and an assassination, so they've made up their points anyway. So look to try and do that because, yeah, really the best way to beat Teclis is just to kill him. Finally, one of the other really nasty things that High Elves have, and probably their best thing, is the Phoenix, what are they called? Phoenix Guard Horde Star. So the idea here is that they're going to have a huge unit of Phoenix Guards, so they're really defensive. There's going to be a BSB in there that's going to make them immune to magic, and then there's going to be all the different characters in there. And yeah, this is just really tough. And the thing is that when you hit it hard, because just like how your trolls were surviving it because of regen, they're surviving it because of their ward save. And the best thing to do if you face that is avoid it, because that is pretty much a lose-lose situation, and then all of a sudden the game becomes stall that while you kill everything else. Because at least a good thing about when you're facing that list is that there's so many points in that unit that there won't be much else. And yet at the same time, the way you have to build your list, you have to have at least 3 units other than your characters, so there's going to be at least 2 other units out there. And because they're expensive High Elves, you know that's going to be at least 100 points. And if you kill just those 2 units, that's enough to win. And then if necessary, you know, same thing. Tie them up with Night Goblins, stab a character in the crotch till he's dead. That can help you out even more. But yeah, otherwise, just avoid that because that's just going to get nasty beyond belief. So there you go. That's the way you're going to take on High Elves. Know you're going to be beaten in combat, but know that you're going to outnumber him. Concentrate unit at a time, hit them with everything you have, possibly use the Helm of Commandment to stay stubborn, and think about the ways you're going to be cycling units as they actually break, but it's almost like a tactical fleet, and then you get to reuse them. And then if you're ever against magic, make sure you have lots of magic defense, and then if you can't stop it, get in there and kill that mage. So there you have it, and next time we're going to be talking about taking on another tough one, and that's dwarves. So see you then. Bye.